For almost anyone who's ever dreamed of just casting off the lines and sailing around the world, there is one giant make-or-break challenge: finding the right boat. Not just any boat, right, but the perfect boat for that journey. So what happens when that perfect boat just doesn't exist? Well, you might just have to help design it yourself.
It's a huge question, isn't it? I mean, it's a quest that can take years. It involves just endless research and a sea of totally conflicting advice. But what if, after all that searching, after looking at everything out there, the perfect boat still doesn't exist?
So let's meet our guides on this journey. They're Nick and Teresa from the super popular YouTube channel s/RubyRose. Now, these two are seasoned sailors, and after years on their monohull, a classic single-hulled sailboat, they found themselves at a real crossroads.
Yeah, so after years of sailing around the Caribbean, they'd visit friends on their catamarans. Those boats with two parallel hulls, known for being super stable and having tons of space. They'd see these huge, stable cockpits and these massive living areas. It was a completely different way to live on the water, and, well, it planted a seed.
And that was the moment everything changed. They'd get back in their dinghy, head back to their beloved but, much smaller monohull, and they'd just question everything. The difference between the two lifestyles was so obvious that they decided, okay, it's time for a change, and that's when their deep dive into catamarans really began.
But here's the thing. They pretty quickly discovered that finding the right catamaran wasn't simple at all. They thought they'd just step aboard one and, fall in love. But the reality, it was way, way more complicated.
And when I say they were thorough, I mean thorough. They didn't just look at a few boats here and there. Nope, they ended up reviewing 19 different major brands on the market, filming the whole thing, and sharing every discovery with their audience.
Nick's big takeaway was pretty blunt. He said that once they started to scratch beneath the surface of all those beautiful, shiny white boats, they found enormous differences in quality and in the whole design philosophy. It became super clear that not all catamarans are created equal, not even close.
And they kept running into the same problems over and over again. So many boats were designed for the charter market, which is great for a week in the sun, sure, but they're not built for serious ocean passages. They found that owners often had to immediately upgrade factory parts just to make their brand new boats safe to take offshore. And even worse, they ran into brokers who were way more interested in their commission than in the buyer's needs, sometimes even spreading misinformation to push a more expensive boat. It was a mess.
So all this frustration, it actually led them somewhere completely unexpected. Their journey took this sharp turn, leading to this amazing collaboration, where their real-world, hard-won experience could finally meet expert design.
It all came together with a company called Seawind Catamarans. It was kind of like a Goldilocks situation. Their 42-footer was just a little too small for really remote cruising. But their 52-footer? Well, that was too big, too expensive, and just a beast to handle short-handed. There was this perfect gap in their lineup, right around 45 feet.
And so the conversation just shifted. Instead of just buying a boat, Nick and Teresa started working directly with Seawind's design team. They were combining their first-hand, on-the-water knowledge with the company's engineering expertise. And together they set out to design hull number 1 of a brand new boat, the Seawind 1370. So, after all that searching and all that frustration, what did they actually create? What does a boat designed by sailors for sailors actually look like? Well, let's take a look.
Okay, so at its heart, the Seawind 1370 is all about balance. It's this beautiful fusion of true sailing performance, you can see it in those sleek lines, and the kind of live-aboard comfort that really makes a boat a home. This wasn't about making a compromise. It was about integration. It's about creating a boat that's fast and safe on long passages, but also incredibly enjoyable to live on at anchor.
Now those reverse bows, they're not just for looks. Not at all. They serve a really critical function. They pierce through the waves instead of riding up and over them. This dramatically reduces pitching and slamming, which is a design choice that directly leads to less fatigue for the crew and a lot more safety when the weather turns bad on a long ocean crossing.
This is such a classic Seawind feature, but it's really been refined for the 1370. You've got these twin helm stations and they're protected under the hardtop. This keeps the skipper out of the scorching sun and the pouring rain, while still giving you fantastic 360-degree visibility. And what's really crucial is that all the sail lines are led right back to these helms, which makes it easy and, most importantly, safe to handle the boat, even if you're sailing short-handed. That's a huge confidence booster when you're offshore.
Okay, in terms of lifestyle, this is where it gets really, really cool. The galley, the saloon, and the cockpit are all on the exact same level.
And with Seawind's famous Trifold door system, the entire back wall of the saloon just lifts up and stows away in the ceiling. This completely transforms the boat from a bunch of separate areas into one enormous, seamless indoor-outdoor living space. It's just perfect for life in the tropics.
And because this boat is designed to actually be lived on for long periods, the owner's suite is unbelievably comfortable. The queen-size bed is located amidships, right where there's the least motion when you're underway. The entire hull is dedicated to the owner, with a huge bathroom and even a walk-in closet up in the bow. It's all about creating a sustainable, long-term home on the water, not just a vehicle to get from A to B.
So when we talk about all these features, the performance hulls, the protected helms, the live aboard comfort, it all comes back to this one central concept: blue water cruising. It's about having a boat that is truly self-sufficient, incredibly durable, and safe enough to take you absolutely anywhere in the world you want to go.
All right, and for all of you who love the numbers, let's geek out on the key specs for a second. It's 45 feet long with a nearly 25-foot beam, so you've got this incredibly stable platform. The displacement is kept down for performance, and it carries a lot of fuel and water, 155 gallons of each, which is absolutely essential for that self-sufficiency we've been talking about. Every single number here reflects a very deliberate choice, balancing capability with the capacity you need for true independence. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? The whole story of the Seawind 1370 suggests that maybe the best boats aren't just drawn up on a computer in an office. Perhaps they're born from thousands and thousands of miles at sea, from real frustration and discovery, and from that powerful idea of finally making a boat that truly answers a sailor's needs.